Pardon me while I have a strange interlude.
For there is nothing else. Life is an obscure hobo bumming a ride on the omnibus of art.
Along the misty corridors of time, and in those corridors I see figures, strange figures.
Welcome back, my friends, to the AP Strange Show. I am your host, AP Strange. This is my show, and tonight's show is brought to you by the revenge of the return of the son of the horror movie from hell. This is bound to be an ultimate experience in terror, so go check it out. It's even better than the return of the son of the horror movie from hell. I'm sure there will be more, but go check those out. The whole franchise, it's all made by AI, and it's available for you right now. So on the show tonight, we're going to be geeking out about movies in general. This is kind of in the tradition of my Third Time's a Charm shows, but we're just kind of widely talking about franchises and movies and all sorts of geekery. And for this show, I have a guy, one of my favorite guys to listen to, who talks about movies because he has two separate podcasts where he does so, called John and Alexx Hate Stuff and This May Hurt a Bit. John C. Myers is my guest tonight. Welcome to the show, John.
Thanks a lot for having me. Hi. That's very, very nice of you to say. Very, very lovely introduction.
Well, I mean it. It's I think I slept on This May Hurt a Bit for a little while, and then finally jumped on. I'm like, man, why wasn't I listening to this earlier? Because
it's a fun show, but it depends a lot on the movies that we're doing. Because as you kind of mentioned, the franchises can get pretty rough.
Right. Well, I always like the dynamic between you and Alexx, but the dynamic on This May Hurt a Bit is also great. You guys are fun, and sometimes you have an extra guy in there. You'll have guests on occasionally, and yeah.
Yeah, mainly it's Alexx and I trying not to kill each other for most
right.
of it. It's sort of this uneasy truce that we have going on, whereas This May Hurt a Bit, it's a little friendlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good stuff, but top of my mind right now, since I do a series, and I've done less of them in the past couple months, and I feel bad about it, but I do a series of third movies in a series, the Third Time's a Charm, and I do it for science. So in the interest of science, since you're an expert on franchises covering them on This May Hurt a Bit, do you find any patterns with the third movie in a series, or is there what do you think about the second sequel as a phenomenon?
It's changed over time, given how, the nature of franchises and, particularly with multiverses and stuff like that. But in general, as you have discovered through your own scientific research, is like the third movie is where it's like, can we get away with this one more time? Like,
right.
First one was like, hey, this went well, let's do a sequel, maybe expand it out a little bit. And then it's usually a variation between, I guess we're going to do another one, or, okay, one more, but this is it. We're going to wrap it up. You find a lot in some horror franchises where, like Friday the 13th Part 3, they were like, can we just kill Jason and be done?
Right.
No, apparently, because there were, 8 more movies. But there's a lot of just like, what was once fun is now becoming a job to the filmmakers.
Right. Well, and the Friday the 13th one, that's the 3D one, right?
That's the 3D
it's Jason
one, yeah.
3D. Yeah.
Which was so much fun because it completely understood that 3D is a dumb gimmick. And so they're like, we're going to like put a yo-yo in your face rather than like try to make it interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was one of the ones we covered so far was Jaws 3D.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So
that's a 3D one too. Yeah.
it was around the same time, I think. So,
Now,
uh,
have you done? I mean, since it seems like, like what ones have you done so far? I guess I'll ask that.
well, I've done Halloween 3 was one of them.
Uh huh.
We've covered RoboCop 3,
Oh boy.
Leprechaun 3, which kind of turned into a lot of the time it turns into a conversation about the whole franchise because you
Sure. Yeah.
um
They're usually not standalone films, with the exception. I mean, I guess Halloween 3 is because they went. What if we stopped doing Michael Myers and did this whole
yeah,
separate thing?
that was kind of an interesting chat because the way we did it was talked about the writer who had his name removed from the movie, Nigel Neal. Uh,
Oh, I did not know that. See, I still haven't. I haven't. We haven't done it on the show yet. That's one of the we try to space out the big ones
right.
because if we just do all of them right away, and only so many people care about Wishmaster 3,
Right.
and I am not one of them. But I had to watch it anyway. Uh,
Right.
but yeah, I did not know that the writer's name got removed. Did he get it removed because it was like this was supposed to be its own thing, and now you're making a Halloween movie, or was he just not happy in general?
No, they messed with the plot and changed a bunch of things and kind of turned it into a cartoonish thing that he wasn't really going for. I mean, Nigel Neal was a really well-known like British writer. He did like
Mm.
Quatermass. He came up with that
Oh,
and
okay, sure.
Stone Tape and yeah.
Oh,
So
damn, I love the Stone Tape. I did not realize that was the guy.
yeah, it's the
Um,
same guy. But I mean, his story I think revolved more around like the Stonehenge stuff and
that makes a lot of sense now, knowing that.
yeah, right.
I wonder if the original had the masks turning kids' heads into bugs. Because
Yeah, I
that
don't
was the
know.
main thing I remember from that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it did have to do with child sacrifice, I think, but
Hmm. Well, good. As long as they kept that, then I'm okay. I don't see
but
what
I
the
thought that
problem
was
is.
a fun way to approach the movie, and I've had fun with the movies in general because having a different person on every time to talk the third movie in a series is naturally
Yeah.
going to lend itself to a variety of ways of approaching it, and that one, I feel like a lot of people have covered Halloween 3. It's become kind of like a cult classic
Hmm.
that everybody loved. So it was kind of a nice way to talk about it without even really talking about the movie. We ended up talking about Nigel Neal more.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I think because now that you mentioned it, I think Alex and I did it once, and I think we mainly just talked about how the plan to rule the world with robots was right there. Why didn't you
yeah.
just do that? I think that was mainly our focus.
Well, maybe that was more the original plot.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I've learned that ghosts and Stonehenge are dumb. Robots are the way of the future. Make my movie
Right.
about robots, and they said, "No, we have to have Stonehenge. You're that is your thing." And he didn't want to get tied down. I've decided. I am basing that on nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So this,
Yeah.
this is your own legendary
This is
history of
this is
Halloween
my
3.
my
Yes.
intelligent analysis of Halloween 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I see that one is an example where I think you almost had a franchise say, let's just do something completely different with the third one and
Hmm.
move in a different direction with it. And that was kind of Carpenter's idea, was to do it more like an anthology. So every sequel would just be its standalone story, you
Hmm.
know, um, which is a cool idea. But I think within the context of like slasher franchises, people just want to see the bad guy come back
Right.
and cheer for him as he kills people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that these things kept selling for a long time. That there was 11 Jason movies, and particularly back in the 80s when there wasn't just a glut of content out there, for lack of a better word. They're like, well, this is my only chance to see Mike Myers do something again, so I'll tune back in. Uh, but I was thinking about the only other movie I could think of, the only other trilogy or I'm sorry, franchise that's coming to my mind that's like the third one's way different is the Fast and the Furious, because the third one's Tokyo Drift, and that
Huh.
one that has like none of the original cast in there. I think maybe Vin Diesel shows up once, but it's an outlier as well. I think
Yeah.
I mean it's about cars, so it's not like they went way off the reservation for that one. But
Right.
if you were there, if you wanted to see Paul Walker and Vin Diesel, you were in for a rude awakening.
But it's okay because they made a couple more sequels after
Fortunately, they listened to the fans. Although Tokyo Drift has its defenders. People really, really like that one.
Yeah.
It didn't do much for me, but I'm not big on that franchise as a whole.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I've seen a single one of them actually.
I think if I would recommend one, it would be Fast Five, because it's just a ridiculous heist movie and real silly, and that's kind of where I would like that series to be, because I don't care about cars at all.
Right. Yeah.
So there's like, well, what if we did something fun with cars rather than have them look neat?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Or you could do Fast and the Furious in space.
Yeah, they did. I think they went to space in a recent one. Like it was one of those.
Did they really?
Like a Halo jump, something like that. Like I don't think they were like, we're on planet Speedulon or something. But I think they went up to space. I kind of stopped paying attention.
Right.
I think I saw Fast 8. I don't even remember anymore. I think that was during lockdown and everything was just a mess. So my brain stopped working.
Well, they kept making them after Paul Walker died.
Yeah.
How about that?
There's still money to be made. With the Rock and Ludacris.
Yeah.
He got eclipsed, that Paul Walker.
Well, that's what capitalism does.
It just ruins Paul Walker. Marx said that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's in Marx's writings for sure.
Yes, it does. Capital. Tokyo Drift.
Yeah. Yeah, the third installment of Das Kapital.
Yeah. Which that one was meant to be an anthology, but he ended up he's sticking on communism and just sticking right with it. So you never know where it's going to go.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easy to be cynical about it, and I think it's actually hard not to be, because it's like, obviously it's a money grab, and you have the recognizability of a character, so you're just going to keep churning stuff out. But there's a joy to be found in some of the trash of the sequels. That
Absolutely.
I think, yeah,
and I think that's a big thing with the third one, is when it's like, okay, this is for the money, because in some cases it always is, but you can definitely have like a movie like Hellraiser, for example. The second one is so much more expanding the ideas of the first one and like making the world a bit bigger. Some new characters, some new ideas with the whole thing. And then the third one's like, well, we already did that. So what if we just turn Pinhead into a slasher? And we don't have as much money. So a lot of times the third one is the first foray into straight to video. That wasn't the case with Hellraiser 3, but it really starts to become plain that this is just, we're trying to make money on this. We don't really care about the universe or whatever.
Right.
But
yeah,
I still
and
kind of
that,
like Hellraiser 3, but it's own
yeah.
thing.
That seemed like a particularly rough one. You guys were definitely hurting a bit by the end of that.
Yeah, that one is awful. The Hellraiser series is awful because they stopped. Like you could be like, okay, Jason's coming back from the dead again to kill teenagers again. They don't even do that in Hellraiser. They just started making movies that weren't Hellraiser movies. They just would get scripts and be like, guess what? This is a Hellraiser movie now. Put Pinhead in it. Boom, make that, done.
Right.
And so it's
off to Romania to film this thing, and
pretty much, yeah. And so there was just not really a through line of the characters of the world or anything like that. And there was one particular Hellraiser Revelations that they basically made over a weekend just so they could hold on to the rights.
Yeah, that's a fascinating angle to it that I didn't really consider until I was listening to your series on Hellraiser. Actually, is that's definitely a thing where like they're going to lose the rights if they don't make something.
Right. That's like there's always going to be like a new Watchmen something or other coming out, because as soon as they lose the rights to that, they have to give DC has to give Alan Moore a whole bunch of money.
Right.
And so they're always finding new ways to like repackage it or do something else with it just to extend those rights out a little bit more.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. But sometimes it's hilarious where like you have Warren Beatty every so many years appearing on TV. in character as Dick Tracy.
Being the insane Dick Tracy. I did not watch that special that he did on like AMC, but I just saw some screenshots of it that were just this sad old man in a yellow trench coat. And man, that's ridiculous. But I will at least he's putting himself out there. He's not making someone else do it. He's
right.
like, if I got to go act the fool to keep the hold of Dick Tracy, I'm going to do it.
It is hilarious, but I'd actually kind of like to see a new Dick Tracy. That might be fun.
I would. The first one's real fun, like particularly in the kind of drab color palette that current movies tend to be. It's so just like bright and shiny and colorful, and all like the makeup is pretty goofy. I had a good time with it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that kind of fun, needs a comeback.
Yeah.
I think Peter Gunn does that pretty well. I don't know how you feel about.
James Gunn.
James Gunn, yeah, not Peter Gunn. That's the song.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I enjoy that song. I think it does it pretty well.
Great, good old Henry Mancini.
Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest James Gunn fan, but like I appreciate that he's got his own particular style. That he brings. That like I enjoyed the new Superman. That was a lot of fun, and I think his style, like when he's at a little bit more of his like edgelord mode, like this is a little bit less so, but more like the mid 2000s, like with Super and stuff like that. He was a little bit more like online edgelord kind of guy, and sometimes those instincts still show up in not wanting to let a sentimental moment be a sentimental moment, undercut it with a joke, or let the soundtrack just do the work. And I think he did a better job of that in Superman this time around.
Yeah, I like Superman.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, particularly after the Zack Snyder ones, it was nice to have a fun Superman.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing I'd like to get away from, is the Zack Snyder of it all.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the idea too that they took that and then went. They're like, well, we need to make every DC property as dark as Batman. It's like that's not what comic books are.
Right?
They're different kinds of like I'm not reading Aquaman to get dark and gritty.
Right.
And I mean, I know they did that movie a little bit differently, but it still has some of those same earmarks. Like like Alexx and I are doing the Fantastic Four movie for the show, and so I had to watch that. And the worst parts of it were the stuff that's like, oh right, this is a Marvel movie. I feel like it's got to tie into a larger thing, and it was pretty fun.
Does it though? I mean, that episode isn't out yet.
No,
for our recording, but so I haven't. But it will be by the time this is out. So listeners, you can go look at John and Alexx Hate Stuff, and you can hear about the Fantastic Four there.
Hear me complain there.
So all right, so I'm taking it you didn't like it overall, or
I'm still thinking about it. It's fine. Like I'm just growing tired of superhero movies, but as a superhero movie, yeah, it's fine. As one of those like Marvel, you could have done a lot worse. And they have.
See, people were raving about that one, and I was very underwhelmed and actually kind of irritated by it. And it might be that I saw it at a drive-through and the sound quality wasn't that great because I was listening to it through a radio. But that might have had something to do with it. But people were talking about the score, and I'm like, what score? It didn't even really come through for me.
Yeah, I can't tell you that the score was that memorable for me. Yeah, I didn't really notice it. I know there's a thing. There's an online critic or video essayist, Tony Zhao, that has a series called like Every Frame a Painting, I think, and he did a video about how so many scores now aren't memorable because they all sound the same because people put in temporary tracks when they're editing. To like, all right, we're gonna put this in to kind of get the tempo of the scene, the pace of it, and sort of the feel that we want. And then they fall in love with that track. And so when it's time for the music, they're like, we'll make the music sound like that. And then you end up just repeating, like everything sounds like a Hans Zimmer drop from Inception now. That dun 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 dun. But and so it's like the Avengers theme. I couldn't tell you how that goes at all, even though I've seen the majority of those movies. It's like I know it when I hear it, but it just doesn't stick with me.
Right. I mean, and that's one of the things that I think people get nostalgic for, especially with like 80s movies. It's like, the Back to the Future theme. the Star Wars theme,
right.
the Superman theme from then. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they were big iconic scores, and nowadays I guess people don't do that so much.
Yeah, we need less focus on AI and more on preserving and like hooking him up to a golden throne kind of situation. John Williams, like just harvesting John Williams' musical talent for eternity. Like he's not allowed to die. He's just hooked up to tubes so he can write like big sweeping scores for our action films.
They just like prop him up, and he can be like an abominable Dr. Phibes, like hooked up to his
Yeah,
organ.
basically, just every moment suffering unless he creates the music. Then he gets a drug pumped into his brain that soothes the pain. Then he's happy, we're happy. It's win-win. And
it's it's really the best for everybody involved.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's. Would you want to make all of society worse with AI, or would you like to torture one John Williams and get some sweet music?
Right.
It seems pretty simple to me.
Yeah. Yeah, the good of the many outweighs the good of the one. John Williams.
Just the one John Williams, yeah. Anyone else, this doesn't apply to it. This is only John Williams.
Well, one thing I did appreciate in the Marvel movies was, especially with like Guardians, was just kind of like the mixtape idea of doing a soundtrack where it was, kind of selecting cool songs.
Yeah, it's fun. I think like tying it to that gimmick became a little tiresome because it's like the first one is, oh, this was a tape from my mom, this meant so much to me. And then the second one was like, yeah, but my friends made me this new tape. And then
Right.
The third one is, I guess that tape went bad, so I made a third tape. And it starts to become a little bit less like meaningful.
Right.
Or just the background of like, no, these are how these things go, which is fun. It's fine. The soundtracks are fun.
Yeah. I mean, I got the sense that like the 70s mixtape, the 70s music mixtape, the first one, and that comes into like Doctor Strange as well.
Mm-hmm.
That it was supposed to kind of represent the music that maybe those guys were listening to when they created the characters.
Yeah.
We're writing some of those big stories in the 70s and stuff,
Right. Well, I learned that like Fantastic Four takes place on Earth 828, and the reason it's called that is because Jack Kirby's birthday is 828.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, so it's like, oh, okay.
Okay, so that gets to my theory about the Fantastic Four movie, is that since they went to the trouble of telling us it was Earth 828 at the beginning,
mm-hmm.
and then just moved past that and never mentioned it again, I'm like, this is an alternate timeline of the same Marvel Cinematic Universe, isn't it? Like,
basically,
none of this happened in the.
I don't know if that's the main Earth. Marvel heads sound off in the comments, but it does seem like as soon as I saw that, it's like, oh, so does that mean none of this is going to matter? The fact that you're pointing that out, and I think that's where you run into problems with your tying everything together, is that then you have to account for everything. Because I remember watching, I think it was Captain America: Winter Soldier, where I was going, why don't you just go get the Hulk? What's he doing? Just go get him.
Yeah,
but that's part of comic books. Whereas if it's just everything's its own standalone thing, it doesn't really matter as much. You're free to get away with a lot more.
Yeah. So I mean, I take it you're a big comic book guy, though.
I mean, I grew up reading some Marvel, and then I got way into DC for a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, not as much as I used to be. I kind of would get a lot of it was sort of through osmosis, hanging out with other people and reading their comics, or just like buying the big graphic novel collections of stuff. But I was never a go buy stuff regularly, keep up issue to issue with stuff kind of guy.
Okay. Yeah.
How about yourself? Did you do much of that?
Well, yeah, when I was younger, I was a regular at the comic book shop, I'd drop in once a week when the new arrivals got there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would go with my college roommate and then just read whatever he got. So
yeah. Well, I used to go with my friend, and we'd each buy a title and then kind of trade, go back and read them and trade off, and then,
mm-hmm.
walk home with our respective comic books.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun, but that was kind of during the era of alternative comics were huge,
Right.
So but I've always been more
in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Like when really edge lordy when you look at it now is like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. I was
Oh
like
yeah,
reading that.
yeah, yeah. Although I would argue like probably less so than Preacher. Because
Yeah,
I think John, it was more like just that kind of it was a harder edge like internet random humor kind of stuff. But it
yeah.
would be funnier stuff. Whereas it was never like as mean as some of those other ones. But yeah, that one was pretty out there.
I couldn't believe when Invader Zim started. I'm like, they gave this guy a kids show.
Yeah, they went like looking at your output. How about kids? That seems like something you should be in charge of.
Although I guess when you learn about some of the personalities behind Nickelodeon back then,
That's
he's probably
true.
one of the better guys.
Yeah. He's like all my weirdness is on the page. That's
Right.
it. That's it. It all gets filtered there.
Yeah, the horror show that you hear about some of those other guys.
Oh, awful,
The guy,
awful
the guy
stuff.
that created Ren and Stimpy, and
Yes, yeah, and then what's his name? Dan Schneider.
yeah,
He did like all that. Ooh, bad stuff.
right. Yeah, I had no idea about that stuff, and that documentary came out. My wife watched it. I did not, and she told me
Uh-huh.
about it, and I'm like, oh God, yeah, I don't need to watch that.
Yeah, yeah. No thanks.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I had no strong love for all that, so it's not like I was, uh, I remember watching it like a little bit. It was a little after my time,
yeah, me too.
but so I
Yeah,
didn't know that he was involved with it. But then after reading some stuff about it, yeah, he's a nasty guy.
right, right. Yeah,
Yonan
and it's
Vasquez, okay as far as we know.
what's that? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I would assume so. He seems fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, hopefully hopefully he is. Hopefully there's not some dark secret.
Right.
Hopefully his dark secret is like he's drawing like My Little Pony pictures or something. That's like
Right.
I'm actually really into this stuff. I'm not
Yeah.
as dark as people think.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I mean that kind of gets to like the whole horror movie thing too. It's like I feel like a lot of people that are really into graphic horror and slashers and stuff, and people that write the stuff and create the stuff are just like full of joy. Like
Yes, yeah. I mean,
they're not really dark people.
there's a lot of that are just very nice people. Like, back to Hellraiser, you hear a lot of very lovely things about Clive Barker. I mean, he is into some weird stuff, but that's like, no, I keep that over here, and then over here I'm nice, and like, finding out behind the scenes stuff on most of the movies, it's all pretty professional and people are pretty into it. Very excited to like see what goofy little makeup gags they've come up with and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then you have some people where it's like, oh, you kind of enjoy tormenting people. Like some of it's just being young, like Toby Hooper making the first Texas Chainsaw. All like the dinner family scenes were shot in a house in Texas in like 110-degree weather, and they had to make it look like night, so they covered up all the windows, and it just really stunk in there. And they were doing like 16-hour days of shooting, and so everyone was just losing their mind and very upset.
Yeah.
But sometimes that happens when you're a young filmmaker.
I feel particularly bad for the guy that played the grandfather because it seemed like a lot of heavy makeup on
It
him.
was a
Like,
lot of makeup, yeah. And I mean, fortunately, all I had to do was sit there for most of it. So you could probably just try to sleep while everyone is just
right.
screaming around you. But yeah, but it still would be very uncomfortable. But I think just being in Texas in general would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all set.
all good on that front.
Yeah, and well, that is actually one of the more upsetting scenes in any movie ever. Is that dinner scene.
Yeah.
It's effective.
Yeah, and I mean that's why they in most everyone since the first one they've tried to ape that in some capacity,
Right.
because it is such a powerful scene, and then you'll see it in other movies sort of lifted as well because it's pretty brutal.
Right.
And in some cases, particularly as you move on into the franchise, you often find that these more horrible things are happening. It's almost like the banality of evil, where they don't have the time to worry about any of this. Like all this awful stuff that they're capturing on film, it's like, we have to shoot this now. We don't have a budget. So I'm not going to even dwell on the awful stuff that's happening here. Is it in frame? Great, done. Like, go
Yeah.
ahead and chop off a head. That sounds fine. Is that lit well? Great, moving on.
Right.
It becomes so much more business-like.
Yeah, and they don't usually have the budget for a lot of stuff too, so sometimes they have to kind of rewrite on the fly, I guess. So,
Yeah, and sometimes that's where the fun stuff comes in, is seeing like what, particularly a one that I fell in love with while watching the series was Phantasm, because that one has always been Don Coscarelli. The different guy directed the fifth one, but it was basically Don Coscarelli was like over his shoulder the whole time. But he's always just been, he said, like, I try to make other movies, they don't get funded, and so then I make another Phantasm. And then people get excited about that Phantasm, and then I get offers to make other movies, and then those movies don't get funded. So he just kept going back, and the plot doesn't make any sense overall. There's just some, there's a steel ball, and it's stealing people's, and there's stealing people's brains, and there's Angus Scrimm being the tall man. But like by the time you get to the fourth one, he's like reusing a bunch of old footage that he never did from the original. And he's making this like weird meditation on death. And so this being able to take it and shape the franchise in these weird directions because you have such limited resources can make it a little bit more interesting. And what you can do with it. Also, just having that sole voice of authorship is nice. That's also true with the Chucky franchise. Don Mancini, I think is the guy's name, that has been with it since day one, like writing it, and then he started taking over directing, and then made it more specifically focused on like queer issues and things like that, and gave it a real shot in the arm with taking it in like wild directions and leaning on the comedy side of it pretty heavily.
Well, I don't think I've seen past Child's Play 3, so
I've seen like they're spotty because locally here the Hollywood Theater has a regular feature called Queer Horror that's hosted by this drag clown named Carla Rossi, and every Valentine's Day they show a Child's Play movie. I don't know how that got started or why it got started, but so my partner and I would go and see the Child's Play movies, and just whatever order they were playing them in. It's like, this year we're doing I don't know, Seed of Chucky, so let's go watch that.
Wow. Yeah, well, I never even knew that there was a whole queer following for Child's Play. I guess I just missed that whole part of it. I haven't seen those movies since I was young, so.
Right, yeah. I mean, it didn't happen until a little bit later on. Like the first, I'd say the first three are pretty much, your bog standard horror movies, but there's elements, then it starts to get much campier and sillier when Don Mancini gets on the horn, particularly when Jennifer Tilly gets involved.
Yeah, like the Bride of Chucky.
I think it's 6. Maybe I think it's Seed of Chucky or something where Jennifer Tilly plays herself as well as the evil doll, which is just ridiculous, and she's so over the top in that one.
Yeah.
But those ones are a lot of fun. I'm excited to do those on the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole history of horror is so intertwined with the history of like queer expression in movie making,
Yeah,
and as two cis white guys, we're out of,
we're experts and have the most to say about it. Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Thanks for finishing that for me. That was a John joke if ever there was one. So
yeah, pretty much.
Just feeding it to you.
But you should check those out. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I do think about that though, because you go back even to like, and I was going to bring this up just because of the concept of horror movie franchises, is like right back at the beginning with the Universal movies. That seems like where that idea where they really started trotting out the monster over and over again. Right. But I mean, you look at like Frankenstein and James Whale and everybody involved with like Bride of Frankenstein is the queer authorship of that is super important to that being what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and then it's wild that all those eventually just became like, Abbott and Costello meet the Mummy, or Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened as much in more modern day. Like you'll get references to horror in comedy and stuff like that. And, Freddy has met Jason, but you don't get a lot of like, the American Pie kids meet, I don't know. I'm like,
Right.
I was going to say that when I was like, the most recent reference I have is American Pie. Good God. I'm 87. Yeah. Kids these days.
Well, we don't really have
pies.
comedy teams like we used to, Like,
That's true.
so.
Yeah. Or it's just like relegated to online or, TV. There's not so much the hilarious comedy stylings of, I don't know, Paul Rudd and what's his face, Seth Rogen anymore. Like they're not even a
Right.
thing. I think that's like they're Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. They only did a couple of those.
Yeah, maybe like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. Like,
yeah. I mean, they did a bunch of them. Or like, I mean, now people just want, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. They're Deadpool and Wolverine forever, I guess.
Yeah. But I mean, the Abbott and Costello Meet series, I do want to do an episode eventually just on those. They're great. I mean,
yeah. I've only seen the Frankenstein one, and which is great, but it's also very funny because like they hated it. They like hated each other. They didn't want to do it, and the studio was like, basically like, you're under contract, you have to do it. And it ended up being a lot of fun, and they were like, oh, okay, well, this is fine then.
Well, it's a legitimately good Universal horror movie too.
Yeah,
and Boris Karloff refused to do it because he thought it cheapened the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it was so successful, he was like, "Can I meet Abbott and Costello in a movie?"
Yeah, give Boris a slice, huh?
Right, and then so they did. Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, and he played the killer, but they screwed up with the movie title for some reason, so his name got included in the title. So the title of the movie is Abbott and Costello Meet the Killer, comma, Boris Karloff, implying that Boris Karloff, the actor, is a murderer.
Oh, that's mean. But also, like, bad deal if you're Boris Karloff, the killer. You're like, well, I'm not even in this. That's not what I look like at all.
I don't even sound like that.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna write.
Who even talks that way? But yeah, I mean, I kind of get the sense that that's the Universal movies were kind of where the franchise thing started, and that's where I kind of like developed my love for it, because when you get to like Frankenstein, after Bride of Frankenstein, there's Son of, Ghost of, and then Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Yeah, and then meets Abbott and Costello, I think. So meets the Wolfman is fantastic. I love that because you just have all the weird characters like meeting each other for some reason, and you have to come up with a reason why they're all in the same place.
Yeah, because like in Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, like Dracula like wants Frankenstein or something, right? It's been a while since I've seen it, but I feel like there's some Dracula crossover there.
Yeah, Dracula is basically like a mad scientist that needs to bring Frankenstein back to life, and he has the aid of another mad scientist, which is a woman character, and the Wolfman is trying to stop him.
Sure.
And Frankenstein's inanimate body is delivered to the warehouse where Abbott and Costello work. Yeah,
that's right.
So.
Yeah, there's something about like just how sweaty a premise can be sometimes, where like if you just go with it, I'm on board. Like that is all so stupid, but absolutely yes, that all. Just it's like they, again, going back to Friday the 13th, they just had to come up with all these just crazy reasons for him to come back to life. And one of my particular favorites is, I think it's takes Manhattan. Like he's at the bottom of the lake, and then a boat drives over where he's buried and actually like trips some cables, and they electrocute him so he comes back to life. Sure, why not?
Yeah. Well, that's the Frankenstein thing. Anytime you electrocute somebody, they come back to life.
They come back to life. Just all you need is a car battery and some jumper cables, and Grandma's back at Christmas.
Right. That's basic science. So
yeah, pretty much. But I love that. Like that. Just make it as complicated and stupid as possible, and I'm gonna enjoy it a lot.
Well, I think there was a topless woman involved too. in Jason Takes Manhattan.
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty safe bet. Yeah.
I think that's my favorite of the Friday the 13th series.
Is the Takes Manhattan?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a brave stance. I salute that. I can't even be mad.
Well, it's the stupidest one. I think it's fair to say.
It is stupid. It's less like, because Goes to Hell is pretty stupid, but Goes to Hell feels more like a different movie that then they just made a Friday the 13th movie. But Takes Manhattan is a Jason movie, so it still counts. It might be the stupidest one.
Would you say that he takes Manhattan really though?
No,
or does he visit Manhattan? And
he kind of pops in. Jason pops into Manhattan. It's mostly on a boat the whole time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't think it would have gone over as well in Brooklyn, but
yeah, probably not. Jason in the Bronx might have been fun.
Right.
There's another crossover running into Jackie Chan, and they could have a rumble.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, they eventually introduced like kind of a Jason hunter in that series, right? Like it's like a bounty hunter looking for Jason to kill him once and for all.
They tried in 4, I think. In one of them, they introduced a character that was like or maybe it was in 3, where it's like my sister got killed and I'm going to avenge her death, and then Jason like kills him immediately. And then in part 9 in Goes to Hell, they introduced this bounty hunter character that like the actor who played him was a real goofball and was like demanded that he be a cowboy and was kind of sexually harassing a bunch of people on the set. But it's this character that I'm the Jason hunter and I'm gonna get him. I've been after him for years. And in that one, they introduced this whole thing where Jason can shift bodies. He's actually like there's a parasite in Jason that can go into your body and then you become Jason.
Wow, it was that late in the franchise when they did that? Because I watched those all out of order when I was younger. It was just like whichever ones happened to be on HBO or Showtime after like my parents or my friends' parents got it, and then so I didn't see them in any kind of order, you know?
Right. Yeah, there's usually a through line in terms of like how he died in the last one has to do with how they bring him back. And I think in Jason Goes to Hell, they just didn't bother with it because he is at the end of Takes Manhattan, he's dissolved in acid. And so they just went, well, don't worry about that. No, we didn't.
Yeah.
But otherwise it doesn't really matter. There's not like the first 3 are, well, actually the 2 and 3 are back to back. And I think 4 is in there as well, where he's just mostly dead. They didn't kill him all the way. Because he's not even, he's in the first one in a flashback. The bad guy, the first one is his mom. Mm-hmm. And they kill her. And for part 2, Tom Savini hates part 2 because like that's the biggest jump you could make is that the whole reason that she killed all these people in part 1 is because she blames the camp counselors for Jason's death. He drowned due to inattentiveness from the counselor, from negligence. And so to have it be like, no, he wasn't dead. He was just living in a shack somewhere. Kind of defeats that whole purpose, but they just went, shut up, and made the movie anyway.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's just that he's going to show up, terrorize some people. It's not even until part 6 that he's officially undead. And after that, it's, whatever.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. I could maybe know how to do math, but instead, no, I know about Jason dying a bunch.
Right.
That's what I've chosen to devote my brain to.
Now, Jason went to space too.
Jason did go to space, yeah.
Jason X.
In the far future, he went to space.
Right.
He gets unfrozen by some people and taken into space.
It's generally a bad move to unfreeze Jason, but
yeah, you'd think, and they know that. But I think they want to sell him as like a weapon, or like he's got the secret of eternal life, so they want to try to get that, and science gets too big for its own britches, and what's the Jurassic Park thing? All about coulda, not about shoulda, or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Spent so much time wondering whether they could. They didn't stop to think if they should. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of that one is just like, hey, you remember Aliens? We're gonna do that, but with Jason.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you plan on covering the Alien franchise on this May Heard of It?
Probably. I mean, it's my co-host Jim. It's his favorite franchise. Like 2 is probably his favorite movie, Aliens. But that's another series that gets real bad. That like after, and I still love part 3. I saw it when I was really young, and so it sort of embedded itself into my brain. It's got its own issues, but I still enjoy it. But everything after that, it's just been really diminishing returns. So
yeah, they just keep making them too.
There's just I don't remember who said it. There was a critic that was talking about, I don't remember if it was Covenant or Prometheus, that was like, yeah, the movie's fine. Why does it have to be an alien movie? Like, I don't understand why you did that. Which is kind of my feeling about those two. It's like, these are all fine. I just don't know why you have to try to tie them to aliens. But
yeah,
whatever. We'll get to it when we get to it, I guess. But I'm not. It's also with some of those. It's hard because, like, you know, aliens. These are huge, formative movies for people, and they've been analyzed to death. And you're like, well, what can I possibly add to that? Like when we did Psycho, it's like, well, yes, people are dying to hear what just some guy has to say about Psycho, and not that it hasn't been, like, you know, critically analyzed all over the place. But then you get to the later ones where there's less and less people talking about them, and there's some really interesting stuff there. Like Part 3, Psycho 3, directed by Anthony Perkins.
Yeah.
And is incredibly, like, sleazy and nasty. Not what you would expect. And the second one actually is better than it has any right to be for being Psycho 2. But like getting into those underseen ones, sometimes you find treasures like that. They're like, this is actually still pretty fun. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that is cool. I mean that's the reason I like your show, and also the reason I wanted to cover like the third movie, because it's, for me, it was kind of a stupid idea to do it, but it was just stupid enough to work.
Yeah.
But also it's just the movies that maybe people aren't talking about as much. And like you said with Psycho, I've seen all the sequels to Psycho, and I'm like, I don't think it ever got to the point where it was really bad. Like the fourth one's like a TV movie, and it's a lot of flashbacks and stuff, which is like, it's all right.
Yeah,
but
it's fine. It's got Olivia Hussey, who's great. What's his name? The kid who played Elliot in E.T. Blanking on his name right now. Someone I'm sure is listening to this and yelling it. But he's good. It's fun. It manages to stay a decent. It doesn't dip below a certain level of quality, I guess, the series. Whereas other ones you can see definitely where it's like, well, the Sci-Fi Channel bought this, and there's there's just no hope.
Well, I mean, the first one is a Hitchcock movie, and the others aren't, so that's a big difference. But the others don't really betray the first one. You know, it's not like they kind of stay faithful to the to the character and to the story, you know. So
and I think sometimes you'll get people that are more interested in that like, okay, well, how can we expand this character or do something interesting with it, versus people that are like, well, I want to make this, I got to put my mark on this. This has got to be my movie, that people know that this is my take on it, versus just having fun with the character or exploring the concepts a little bit more. Because I think particularly in the early 2000s, when you have a lot of like those gritty remakes of Friday the 13th, of Texas Chainsaw, it was really a lot more like, what can we do to make this a little bit more like Saw? What can we do to make this a little bit like mean and gruesome, rather than being like, well, what is this? What is the movie actually saying? What are we trying to, you know, the original one, like, what are its themes? Let's explore that and maybe take a different spin on it, rather than just like more and more brutal.
Yeah.
And that seemed like a mode there for a little while.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you pointed out in your episode on the later Texas Chainsaw Massacre ones that it had kind of like that gross kind of like music video kind of quality to a lot of the filming.
Yeah. I mean, it was a music video director, Marcus Nispel, and it's just really grimy, but it doesn't have that, like, the same kind of grime that, you know. I think the original was shot on, I forget, it was 16 or 8 millimeter, but like that really low budget, crappy quality. I mean, I saw that on like a pirated VHS. And so that's the thing that always kind of bums me out, is that you lose some of that, like, you know, not found footage, but, you know, that like this thing
like lost
you should,
media,
yeah,
or
like
like
you should not
forbidden
have
media
seen
sort
this.
of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this was the secret tape handed down. That no, when it's like crisp and clear, it loses a little something to me,
Well,
but it's still an amazing movie.
that movie in particular had kind of a mystique around it,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like a particularly brutal movie, and everybody, it was like when you're a kid,
Yeah,
and, you might not even be able to get a copy, but like it would be spoken of in whispers, and people kind of had to
yeah,
imagine what the movie was,
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
so much more. Its reputation is so much gorier than the original one really is. It's
Well,
like
it's a
you don't.
PG movie, right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of blood in it.
Yeah.
Most of it is just like the reactions to people. You see a woman get hung up on a meat hook, but it doesn't like here's a close up of the meat hook going into the back. It's just you being there in that moment and experiencing that and watching her face writhe in pain is to me way more effective than just some gore. I enjoy a good gore effect, but
Yeah.
used smartly, I guess.
Well, it speaks to the insanity of where censors and people like that are going to draw lines, because
Oh
it's
yeah.
like it's horrifying. The idea of being put on a meat hook is horrifying,
Mm-hmm.
and the way they film it, you just have to imagine what's happening because they don't show you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it makes you just squirm in your seat so much more.
Yeah, yeah. There was a movie, Japanese movie, Ichi the Killer, that
Yeah.
came out in the early 2000s, and I initially saw it R-rated version of it, and there's a part where a character has to like cut off his own tongue,
Yeah.
and they don't show it, and it was like, oh, just watching, I remember just like cringing and be like, oh, that's terrible, and then when you see it actually, you see the uncut version, and he actually does it, it's a little bit less. It's like, oh, that's what that looks like. It's so
Right.
much less terrifying than what I thought in my head.
Mm.
But it is to your point about the censors. That's such a weird thing because particularly in the 80s, when Friday the 13th was getting so big, there was definitely a pushback from the moral majority or whatever, the Reagan era conservatives, that were like, these are too awful, too terrible, and so censors were kowtowing to that a lot more and punishing movies. I think it was Part 7 where the director Carl Buechler was like, I mean, for all of these, they would have to send it to the censor and get it back quite a few times, make cuts. They're like, no, it's still going to be X, which was death knell. Like, you could not release, your movie would make zero money if it was X. So you wanted to get that R rating. But like they had one about like, well, when Jason chops off this guy's head, it can only bounce 3 times, not 4.
Right.
And you're like, what happens on the 4th bounce? What is that? Is that too gratuitous then? It's real weird what they come up with, but
Yeah, where they draw those lines is really strange.
Yeah, and particularly in the mid to late 80s, there was a lot of fights with that.
Right.
I mean, there generally is, but I think they were really harsh then because they were those like Jason Freddy movies were so popular.
Yeah, and I mean that's a push and pull that's been going on for the whole history of cinema, where it's wide open, and then all of a sudden people come in and want to clean up the industry, and then
Right.
it kind of loosens up again, and then they get stricter again. So
Yeah, a sort of give and take. Yeah, it's wild because like I remember watching the Ken Russell's The Devils, which is a fantastic movie, and it's pretty blasphemous among other things, but a lot of the gross sex and violent stuff in there, it's like, well, just feels like I'm watching Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's just the tastes change, and what is offensive to some is less so to others as there's more out there. I think you can stuff that's in the earlier Jason movies or some of that stuff that seems would come off as rather tame compared to some of the stuff that's like in Saw or even some more recent stuff.
Well, right. I mean, I think there came a point in the early 2000s maybe where like torture porn became the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the best kills and the most gore was the name of the game for a lot of those, and I'm not into it, I gotta say.
Yeah, well, it's all like you can have a movie that's like incredibly gory. Like, have you ever seen Peter Jackson's Dead Alive?
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, insanely gory. A guy like straps a lawnmower to himself and runs at zombies, and just disgusting and nasty, but it's so over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah.
But with those movies, your Saw movies and like Hostel and those like that, it's where it's so much more about the suffering. It's so much more about watching someone suffer and have nails driven through their eyes or whatever.
Yeah, I hate that.
That's a little bit. That's not my style of horror. Which is it's funny because for as brutal as some of the Saw movies are, like so a good example of the third one. Then the third one, they were like, we're done with this. We don't want to do this anymore. Like we'll leave it open just in case, but we're wrapped up. And then the studio went, no, we're making too much money. We're going to keep making more. That's why they killed Jigsaw at the end of 3, and the fact that his plan has gone on for so many other movies since then is just ridiculous. But those series, the Saw movies, are so soap opera like. They're so like intrigue and who's betraying who and stuff like that. That it's funny because like they've said that some of the filmmakers have said like we would create the script first and then kind of like, well, a trap goes here, trap goes here, trap goes here. We'll figure out the traps later. But the traps are what drew everyone. For the most part. I mean, there are people that we know that reached out to us from the show, us doing the show, that were like, no, I actually was way into what was going to happen next with this guy or whatever. But I don't know, to me, it was always just about the traps. And that sometimes the ingenuity of those are a little bit more interesting than the actual watching them happen because it's just suffering.
Right.
Which is, it can be useful, but like if it's just that, like I don't know this guy, but now all of a sudden his hands are being carved up by a bunch of different razor blades. No thanks. You could have just hit him with a machete and had his head bounce 3 times, not 4, and I would have been happy as a claim.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it might sound counterintuitive to what we were just saying, putting a woman on a meat hook, and then you have to. But that
was done tastefully.
Yes. My point. This is how you artfully torture somebody.
Right.
Is it?
I mean, because the last 20 minutes of, at least 20 minutes of Texas Chainsaw is them just terrorizing Sally, but like,
right.
It's not physical. It's it's not like they're literally torture. It's all psychological and emotional, which is so much better.
Right.
So much more fun.
Yeah, she's being forced to witness this shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's also my preferred kind of ending too, where it's like, well, you made it out, but you're nuts now. Like you are crushed by what you've just seen.
Right.
Rather than where it's like, well, thank God that's over. Time to go back to my job.
Yeah.
That seems like a bummer deal.
Yeah. I do like that when the terror seems a little bit more realistic. I mean, in that case, like she must have been really glad to be done with that movie too. So she was probably cracking up just from that. But
yeah, and then for the close-ups, when they cut to the close-ups of her like freaking out, that they filmed that in the studio separately, where it's like just her and the camera like super close up in her face, and I think just like basically yelled at her or like brought up a whole bunch of horrible memories or something like that to get her to have some horrible reaction. Like
that's terrible.
Really psychologically tortured her. Yeah. But that's, I mean, people will do that. There's infamously a scene, the end of The Exorcist, when Father Karras has thrown himself out the window, and there's a priest that's supposed to be giving him his last rites. William Friedkin like was trying to direct the priest and was like, do you trust me? And the priest was like, yeah. And he just slapped the priest across the face and was like, okay, roll it. Just to get the priest in that like shocked and dismayed, like what the hell? Because he wasn't an actor, he was just a priest. But you slapped a priest. Like, okay, whatever it takes to get the shot, I guess.
I think Friedkin just wanted an excuse to do that.
Yeah, I think that's some of it too. It's like, look, I went to Catholic school. Wham.
Now where's the nun? Bring a nun over here. I'm gonna slap her too.
Just get a line. Give me some cardinals. Just
working his way up to the Pope.
Yeah, it was a pretty good movie, but like the last 20 minutes were just different Catholic authority figures giving this guy last rites.
Yeah, a bishop to kick in the ass,
from the top rope, giving a stone cold stunner to the Pope.
Did you ever see his movie with it was like a documentary about Father Amort? The Exorcist,
No,
the Vatican Exorcist.
no.
It's a dumb movie. I gotta say, it's a documentary about a real life exorcist, and a lot of it contains real life exorcism video. The Devil and Father Amorth is what it's called.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah.
but I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, and listeners too, I guess. I forget the listeners are here, but the end of it is dumb as hell. So I think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm on board. I love a
Um,
good horrible exorcism movie.
I mean, it is a real documentary. I mean, the guy was a
Yeah.
real guy, a real exorcist. So
Yeah, there's a lot of William Friedkin that's flown under my radar. Like I just watched Bug this year, which came out in like 2006 with Michael
right,
Shannon and Ashley Judd. Really good movie. Highly recommend that one. But
yeah,
I've only seen like Friedkin's like big hits. But this looks amazing.
yeah, yeah. The ending of it is very self indulgent. Friedkin, you
Oh
putting himself
yes,
in the story
excellent.
quite a bit. So it's a
Oh boy,
yeah.
Orson Welles style. Love it.
Yeah. Um, but man, I was going to pivot to something, and now I don't know what it was. I got distracted
Oh,
by
sorry.
Friedkin. No, well, once we start talking about slapping priests, it's
Yeah, it was psychologically torturing actors.
the,
The Texas
derails
Chainsaw.
things. Yeah,
And
it was somewhere in there.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I'm talking about, though, is the reactions of the characters. And I guess that's because it's legitimate sometimes. Um, but I mean, there's a couple different ways to go with that. If the reactions are not proportionate, sometimes you can play that off comedically. Like Dead
Oh,
Alive is a
absolutely.
great example.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
guy's reactions to the undead are just like, all right, well, this is something I got to hide from everybody, and
Uh-huh.
I got to keep all these zombies in my house and
Right.
somehow feed them and keep them alive for some reason.
Or that the priest's first reaction is to do kung fu at one. Like,
Right.
yeah, just ridiculous
Kicking
stuff.
ass for the Lord. Yeah.
Kick ass for the Lord. That's right.
I love that movie so much.
It has been a long time since I've seen that one, but man,
It had been
I
for me too, but for Halloween, I rewatched it with my wife, and I'm like, I don't know if this will hold up. And I'm like, this holds up in spades. This is all I ever want to watch in a movie.
yeah. Well, there's a certain amount of like, come back to this, Peter. Come on, Peter
Right.
Jackson. Like, this was great. This was really fun stuff. You did your big important Lord of the Rings. Stop upraising the Beatles and
Yeah.
make some dumb zombie stuff again.
Oh my God, Get Back was intolerable. I couldn't watch that. It
Yeah,
was like,
I've just seen like stills of the AI upscaling and no thanks.
well, I used to be in a band, so it's basically like hanging out in the practice room with your band, only it's the Beatles
Oh, cool.
for hours,
Yeah,
hours of that.
yeah. You're like, yeah, I've done that.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Now I know how every girl I dragged to the band room felt.
Like, she was in awe that you were just like the Beatles.
No, she was extremely bored and irritated with me.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. My thought is with Peter Jackson, his before he had a budget was wonderful. Everything
Yeah.
up to the Frighteners, I absolutely love. And well, not Meet the Feebles. I saw that once, and I never need to watch it again.
Yeah, that one's a little bit again edgelordy for me. But,
Right.
Yeah, and again, like that's something that particularly with those earlier horror franchises that we've done on Heard a Bit that I like a bit more is that these people that are just like, I have no money and I'm just gonna see what I can get away with and try to do. And on one hand, I think it's great that digital filmmaking and like effects are so much more accessible and you can do a lot with it. At the same time, I think that hurts a little bit more because I think it's easier to find like digital blood splatters online that you can just use versus like trying to figure out how would I make this work with a physical prop.
Yeah.
And again, that kind of ingenuity and just making it work versus just we'll fix it in post.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I adore practical effects and stop motion animation and
Mm-hmm.
animatronics and puppetry. Like all of that stuff is, I love it. And um, it still exists. Like people still do it, and it's great when you see it, and
Yeah.
I feel like, um, I feel like people respond to it better.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I mean, because even stuff that's a little bit more high end on that stuff, like the stuff Leica puts out or whatever. It's sure they're using like top of the line equipment and digital stuff to make it all amazing, but it's still a lot of artists and craftsmanship to make the actual little guys to move around. And that isn't to say that doing digital work isn't artistry,
Yeah,
but it's a different form.
yeah.
But I think
But
yeah,
and
when you can see like the effort put into that, I think that reads a little bit differently than like it took me a long time to make this cloud glow, so that
yeah,
Galactus could step out from behind it.
but I mean, there's also an uncanniness to the imperfectness of special effect, or,
Mm-hmm.
practical effects, where I mean, it's not exactly a scary movie, but and you guys covered it, Gremlins, like where
Oh yeah,
the scene where the gremlin jumps in the pool or whatever, and then there's a lot of them,
yeah,
and you see him walking down the middle of the street, and he turns around and like kind of waves his arm to bring everybody around, and then all of a sudden there's a ton of them coming down the street. It's
yeah,
all stop motion, but and it's miniatures, I guess, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
it doesn't look right, and that makes it creepy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's definitely a certain uncanniness. Like that was when we did Basket Case, which
Yeah,
is a movie that I remember like again seeing super late at night, like by myself, and it being uncanny in this way that scared the heck out of me. And you watch it now, it's like, oh, this is just cheap and kind of silly.
right,
But there was something to that, like of how off it was.
right.
Which that series, by the time you get to number 3 in that series, it's the same guy the whole time, Frank Henenlotter, who just went, this has got to get sillier. And every movie got sillier and sillier. Like the third one,
Right.
there's a musical number in it. It's just ridiculous, but they're fun.
Yeah. I think Belial out of the basket is that was that it didn't quite work, but it didn't look right either, and it was
Yeah,
kind of him just trashing the room in the first one. It's
yeah.
like
Because I think for me, like being a kid, I think so much of it was like his scream too. That weird, like it was like
yeah,
he was inhaling but screaming at the same time. But yeah, I think just that unexpected claymation of it
right.
terrified me.
It's just such a weird movie too. That's just
Yeah, yeah.
and the overacting and underacting combinations in it are
And that keeps going throughout the series. You get some big time over the top actors. That was a lot of fun.
yeah. See, I love that stuff. It's like it tickles me in a way that a lot of these more serious movies, I guess, or like big time movies don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think it's some of it is you just movies that kind of know that they're silly but don't need to underline it. Like that you
yeah,
can that's it's a way to do it, but I think there's a certain amount of like something like the Sharknado series, for example, where it's like, no, we know this is stupid, so we're gonna be as stupid as possible and let you know that we know we're being stupid. Whereas like just be stupid, it's fine. You can just do
right.
that. You can
Yeah.
have a guy live in a basket and trash a hotel room. It's fine.
Yeah. Because I mean, I get the point I was going to make before is you can go one of two ways with the reaction that doesn't exactly make sense to the uncanny or horror elements there,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it just makes for a bad movie. Um, I, I I brought this on myself, but the other night I was reminded of the movie Trap by M. Night Shyamalan, and I have sworn off M. Night Shyamalan a long time ago because all he ever does is make me angry. But I
Uh-huh.
saw the trailer for this movie Trap, and I'm like, okay, it seems like he gave away the twist in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
There's a serial killer trying to escape this arena where the FBI knows he is.
Yeah.
So what's the twist? I know it's going to be stupid. I know it's going to piss me off, but I have to
Uh-huh.
know what it is. And I watched this movie, and it is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's even worse than The Happening somehow.
it's it's pretty dumb.
You saw it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we
Oh,
did.
okay.
I think we did on the show. Even I don't remember. But yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, maybe you
I
did it as Patreon. Yeah.
maybe we did. I don't
Yeah.
remember. But I was so off of him after Old. Like I
Right.
hated Old. And so Trap I was like, well, this is stupid, but it doesn't seem as self-serious as Old did, but it was still pretty stupid. I think some of it was also just like, boy, it's nice to see Josh Hartnett again. What happened to that guy? I like that
Right.
Josh Hartnett. But the movie itself is real dumb.
Yeah, and I think a part of it is the reactions that people have. So Shyamalan's
Hmm.
daughter there, that plays the singer, Lady Raven, is never at any point like frightened. She doesn't seem frightened of this
Yeah.
guy that she knows is a killer. Like
Yeah.
everybody that encounters him is like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. I know how to handle this serial killer, and he's never threatening at any point. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the point of doing this movie then?
Yeah. I mean, because he loves his daughter and he wants her to be a pop star, or at least play one, which is, I guess, nice. If you have that kind of money and clout, you can do that for your kid. But it did make for a very good movie. Yeah.
Oh, I
It
thought
was.
you meant the serial killer in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
no, the serial killer in the movie. He also was looking out for his daughter. Um, yeah,
maybe this is M. Night Shyamalan's way of admitting that he's a serial killer. Uh,
could be. Maybe, and then he can meet Abbott and Costello. This has just been a whole, a whole long con to meet Abbott and Costello.
right, AI Abbott and Costello. You know,
Right? Yeah.
that's actually a thing. There's this.
Oh.
There's a channel on YouTube that does um, like movies that don't exist with AI,
Oh.
and a lot of them use like Elvis. Like, what if Elvis was in this movie? You know, and Elvis versus the Night of the Living Dead or something like that.
Oh
You
my
know?
God.
And I've had people like send me these. I'm like, I'm not watching it. I'm not gonna watch
Hmm.
it. But then they had Abbott and Costello meet The Exorcist, and I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna check this out just to see if AI can do Abbott and Costello, and it cannot.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
Hello,
just like,
Abbott.
yeah, well, there was a part where they're outside the house from The Exorcist, and they're talking, and they're basically doing like a weird version of Who's on First, where he's like, "Hello, Abbott," and he's like, "What?" And he's like, "No, I'm Abbott," and he's like, "You're Abbott," and I'm like,
Oh.
it had like the timing of Who's on First,
Uh
but it
huh.
didn't make any fucking sense.
Jeez.
And I'm like, okay, the guy that's playing Bud Abbott doesn't look like Bud Abbott, and he doesn't sound like Bud Abbott. Like, I thought the whole point of this AI thing was that you at least could generate their likeness as well, but
Yeah.
they couldn't even do that. And I'm like, this is terrible. This is just straight terrible. And then I'm
Yeah. I
like,
think.
wait, all they did was take a scene from Buck Privates and put it in this different scenario with
Oh.
flies flying around him. I'm like, this isn't. I recognize that. I know what that's from.
Why not just like watch Abbott and Costello in the middle of a gas leak? Like, just do that. That's cheaper. It's actually less damaging to the environment. Just sit in front of a gas leak and watch your favorite movies and imagine.
Or, if you're really inclined to enjoy AI on this level, maybe set yourself on fire. You,
Or that, yeah, that works too.
you could consider it. Consider setting yourself on fire.
What if Elvis set me on fire? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so depressing.
it
But I
is.
know as soon as we're done recording, I'm gonna look some of those up because I like to hurt myself apparently.
Yeah,
So
right. Yeah, well, as a big fan of Abbott and Costello and old time comedy in general, it's like, I mean, that's something that computers can't do. They can't do
yeah,
humor.
yeah.
There's no way. Like you
No, it
can't.
does. It does what Elon Musk considers humor, which is not good.
You,
Epic bacon stuff, but like that kind of like that timing and moxie that Abbott and Costello have.
I
Yeah,
watched a
not into
video
it.
of the real Elon trying to tell a joke, and it was
Oh,
excruciating. It
oh, that
was,
was bad. Yeah, that was so rough.
yeah. I don't know how the biggest losers in the world ended up being in charge, but
Computers. We should have nipped that thing in the bud right away. Just going
yeah,
back and joining the Luddites.
yeah. I mean, as an avowed nerd, I have to say that letting nerds do their thing has only caused pain for
Yeah,
society. But
yeah. There was. I mean, they were bullied for a reason. And then as soon as we stopped that, So there needs to be some ceiling of like, well, okay, it's fine to be a nerd, but let's just calm down a little bit. That's
right. You're still gonna get the book slapped out of your hands, and,
right? Yeah, yeah. Like you have to get like you can be like Elon Musk, but you have to get like pantsed and dragged around the track at least like once or twice a year. Like it's just as a leveling off thing is like to keep you humble.
Yeah. And I almost think part of the problem is that some of these guys like aren't nerds. They're just like want that nerd cred and without doing the work that it takes to like actually learn code or any of that stuff, or even learn what the sci-fi references are.
Right, yeah. Like one of my favorites while we're dogging on Elon is that someone like commented to him once that was like, hey, do you ever watch Neon Genesis Evangelion? And he just responds, Nerve, which is like the name of the place where they work at. Like, so you just looked up a word and said like, yeah, that's a normal response to this. Yeah, the guy is dumb, and I just don't know how you live being that much of a fraud, but he found a way. So good for him, I guess,
Right. Yeah. Well, it's like when the Cybertruck was still kind of new. He's like, this is the truck that Blade Runner would drive. It's like,
yes. Oh God, I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Do you see many of those out where you are?
Yes, actually, and it's astounding to me how many people have purchased one of those.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. Like I've seen probably the most like matte black. I've seen like a few of those. Or like
I see a lot of companies buy them and then put wraps on them, which is just like, man, this is their advertising strategy: is driving around the least aesthetically pleasing vehicle that's ever existed.
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm bad with money. Hire me to do your work. I don't value the dollar.
Yeah, it's astounding. It's wild out there. It's wild.
Yeah.
People keep giving M. Night Shyamalan money to make movies.
We got to shut down those spigots. There's just those money pipes going to those guys.
Yeah. See, he could do with some sequels, maybe. Why don't we do like? There should be a sequel to The Sixth Sense. We could call it The Seventh Sense.
Yeah, The 6.5 Cents.
Yeah.
But like technically
6.5 cents, half a dozen of the other cents.
he did do Split and Glass as like the Unbreakable sequels.
Oh right.
Yeah, because like that's Split, true. Like only at the end, it's like, guess what? It's also Unbreakable. So it's like, fine, whatever. I never saw Glass. It's one of those where I'm like, I liked Unbreakable. I'm good with Unbreakable. I don't want to see anything else from these characters. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I also don't trust, like, again, like, 20 years after the fact, it doesn't feel like, no, this, I didn't get to say what I really wanted to say. It just seems like you're cashing in.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, anytime there's been one of those like revisit an old franchise thing, I don't think it works. It almost never works. It doesn't work for me anyway. I don't know how you feel about it, but
I have not seen a really great one. There's in fact a new Silent Night, Deadly Night coming out here this month.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's any good. The original's not any good, but it's just like,
I thought they were going to remake it, but it's a sequel. It's like a legacy sequel.
No, it's a remake, I think. But it's more just that, what are you going to bring to it that's going to justify it.
Right.
That make it not feel like just a money grab. And I'm not
remake Christmas Evil, you cowards.
Yeah, do that. That one's pretty wild. I'm sure you could find something to do with that.
Right.
Or what's the one with Goldberg? Santa Slay. Bring back Santa Slay. Goldberg needs the work, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, speak of AI too. It's like the Indiana Jones sequel, the most recent one. I don't even remember the name of because I didn't like it. But
yeah, well, the Wheel of Time, was that it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
We're de-aging Harrison Ford, and it doesn't look convincing. I don't know what to tell you. It doesn't look convincing to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, at a certain time, you just got to let it go, particularly when it's centered around one actor, one guy. Like Jason is at least just a hockey mask. There've been a bunch of different Jasons. Freddy is covered under a bunch of makeup, so you'd probably get away with that a little bit more. But yeah, so often if it's just the one guy, then you're really up against it as far as like them aging, and you kind of, he's like 105 now or whatever, and you seeing him like jump off of motorcycles or something like that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see old Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I'd rather not see it. It's
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to see old Han Solo either.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just that, like, and we at a certain point, like, you have to age out of that in terms of like movies only being, hey, remember this, because you're going to run out of this to remember. It's going to be like, hey, remember when this movie remembered that thing? So hopefully we can get back to like having more subtle homages or more original stuff, but probably not, because people don't like new things apparently.
Yeah, and I mean, when you cover an entire franchise with Jim on This May Hurt a Bit, it's like you cover the remakes as well. So at the time of this recording, you did Fright Night, and you did the remake of Fright Night, and then the part 2 to the remake. I didn't even know there was a part 2 to the remake of Fright
It's
Night.
just another remake. It's straight to video, and they're in Romania, and it's Jerry Dandridge, the vampire, is actually a woman now, and she's a professor over there, and they're Charlie, Evil Ed, and Amy are over there for college, I guess. It's
University of Transylvania.
To get their Romanian studies degrees, and it's not very good. But it's just like that is clearly a cash grab, because it's the same production company, and they're like, well, okay, this didn't make a lot of money. Let's try to get one more go out of it. So we went straight to video. It was like 2 years later, I think they went straight to DVD and just rushed this thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's what's rough. I can't think of a remake that I've thoroughly, like the Gus Van Sant Psycho remake is such a specific thing as like an art project. It's kind of interesting or worth talking about, but so many of the other, like, we're bringing back Texas Chainsaw, we're bringing back Jason, not as good. It always seems to be less. It's just trying to make a more modern version of what the originals were.
Yeah.
And not bring any kind of like real ideas to it.
I mean, I think
ideas.
I think a lot of these start with kind of a lightning in a bottle sort of thing that you can't manufacture and you can't recreate. Test conditions had to be perfect for that to happen the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And the imperfection of it is part of the charm, so it's kind of
right. Yeah. And I think that's some of it is, by the time you get to the part 3 of something, it's a little bit like, well, what else can I say with this thing? I've kind of done it. I'm good. So that's what a lot of times you'll see the creators kind of veer off then. Although in Final Destination, one of the directors and the creators of the original one came back for that one, because in the interim he made, I think, that Jet Li movie, The One, and it didn't really do anything. And so he was like, all right, well, I guess I'm back doing this. And didn't seem that stoked to do it. But those movies are all pretty fun. So I'd say like that recent one that came out, Final Destination, still good.
Yeah. I mean, my son and I went to see that, and I don't think he had ever seen a Final Destination movie before. And I'm like, it probably doesn't matter that he's never seen one.
It absolutely does not.
They're all kind of the same, I'm pretty sure. So
they all, like, they'll try to kind of tie it back a little bit. The second one really ties back to the first one, but other than that, it doesn't even really matter. It's more just big, complicated ways for people to die.
Yeah, and they're so fun in that way. They're just like a thrill ride every time,
Yeah, they're so ridiculous. And so when it's kind of going back to what we were saying before, when it's like real, when it gets gushy, it doesn't feel as bad, because it's so ridiculous that someone got a piano dropped on them or whatever.
Right. Or the new one, they dropped a piano on a kid, didn't they?
They did. They dropped a pane of glass on a kid and squished him I think in the second one. That it's so ridiculous, and every death is played as a punchline, so it's got that going for it as well.
Yeah,
where it doesn't feel bad. It feels like a cartoon. You know, you're like, well, I'm sure that kid's going to blink and shake his head and he'll be fine in the next scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Well, okay. For listeners, is there a differentiation between a skush and a gush?
Okay, this has come up a lot, and I'm going to get this wrong. But we have talked about on This May Hurt a bit the differences between skushed and gushed. And skushed is when there's two, like a closing wall trap, I think would be a skush. And I think a gush is when it's just one force acting down upon you.
All right.
Or vice versa. I don't even remember, but it's come up a few times. I think
it might be the other way around.
In the Saw series. Yeah, I think it might be the other way around. But mainly that's only come up in the Saw series because that happens a few different times. There are a few different traps that will either skush or gush you.
Right.
But a lot of times it's just, machetes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, well, the Final Destination one, it's just like, it's like the Rube Goldberg machine of horror movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is like, it's having anxiety. It's thinking about like every little thing that could go wrong, and it does. And it always ends up in a very cartoonish death.
And they're so good at faking you out the whole time. Like you always think something else is going to kill them, and that doesn't have anything to do with it, or it just plays a very minor part in how they die.
Yeah. And that's usually where a lot of the fun comes from. Cause like in part 3, again, there's a lot of, so often in the series, it's the protagonists actively making things worse by trying to stop. So like in the third one, the main characters are convinced that these photos they've taken at this party, at this amusement park, that those are predicting the deaths of other people. And so they jump to conclusions about why that happens. So like one of them is like, oh, there's a fan nearby him. He's going to, I don't know, get shouted by a fan or something. And then what ends up happening is he gets hit by a truck, and the engine of the truck goes flying out the front of the truck and hits him in the head, and the fan blade kills him. And it's just like the most ridiculous things ever. Or like when there were word that these girls were going to get burned to death, and they ended up frying to death in tanning beds. Like just because where they were at, they were like the temperature got too high in the beds and they got trapped in the beds. And it sounds horrifying when you say it, but when you see it happen, it's also ridiculous. It's also like this required a phone to ring, and the vibration of the phone moved this glass over here, which tipped over and spilled on this other thing, which caused this thing to happen. Yeah. It's so like, it doesn't feel like anything. It doesn't feel like anyone is really in danger, but they're going to get skushed or gushed or burned.
Right. Or burned. Yeah. Or, have something go through their head.
Right. That's a big popular one for that series is the head impalement.
Right. Especially if it comes out the eye, that's good. Or the mouth, Yeah.
You see, it's phrases like this that make it hard when you're a horror fan, that you just say that casually to people. And like, why would I ever want to watch that? And you're like, no, trust me, it's good though.
Yeah. And then you stop getting invited to Thanksgiving dinner.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You're eating your meal alone and watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The dinner scene will have to suffice.
Yeah. I'll make my friends in the YouTube comments.
Yeah. It was kind of fun to see that most recent Final Destination in the theater, because I think I saw the first one in the theater when that came out, and then seeing like the most recent one, because you kind of forget that like the crowd is reacting. Like the crowd can't help but react when you're in a packed theater watching that, and it was like that made it so much more fun. Is like everybody's either laughing nervously or just full on laughing, and or just kind of going, oh, like big reactions to everything.
Yeah, and that's so much fun too with particularly some of these older movies, and being able to see them at like repertory theaters and stuff like that. Is that communal experience? Like you can watch a terrible movie on your own and be like, yeah, that's kind of fun, but it's so much more fun to watch with other people.
Yeah,
even if particularly if there's a certain kind of, the movie's bad, everyone knows the movie's bad, so it's not that big of a deal if people are cracking wise or saying something during it. Like it's all part of the fun. That kind of communal experience really adds to it. And something like,
that's how Rocky Horror became a thing.
Absolutely.
People didn't actually like the movie; they were all legitimately making fun of it.
Right? Yeah. And it's or like The Room, more recent thing, like where it's fun to go do that. And like one of my favorite movie going experiences was going to see Snakes on a Plane, because everyone that went to go see that movie knew it was going to be terrible and wanted to be a wise ass about it.
Right.
So everyone was just having a good time, because it's like, we don't care that the movie's it's called Snakes on a Plane. It's not like it's going to be good. We're all here to just have a goofy time watching it. And so it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And this kind of brings us back to the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, because the comic book store near me does a movie double feature once a year. That's like an appreciation for customers. So all you have to do is go buy something at the comic book store. They'll give you free tickets, and
that's nice.
Go. And the one I went to was Monster Zero, the Godzilla movie with the people from Planet X want to borrow Godzilla and Rodan to fight the three-headed King Ghidorah. And Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. These are like two of my favorite movies.
Oh, that's perfect.
But being in a theater with like families and kids and like all kinds of people that are watching Abbott and Costello and laughing, it's like, this is great. Like this stuff actually is timeless comedy. People are still laughing at it now, and it's great to watch it with people, because I've only ever watched that by myself.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't get a chance to have that experience. That's really cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the theater near you. So you're in Portland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably get all kinds of special showings of older movies and stuff.
Yeah, depending. We're very fortunate that the Hollywood Theater. I mean, there's a lot of great theaters here. The Clinton Street, Cinema 21. I particularly, the Hollywood Theater is my ride or die. But they have all kinds of great showings. They do a bunch of 70mm stuff, which is fun. But they'll have a lot of like specialty things, like I mentioned queer horror. They've done like a series based on like fashion stuff. They'll do silent movies, matinees, and they'll have a guy play organ alongside of them. And yeah, there's a wide variety of movies. It's not just whatever is coming out, next week.
So these are like older theaters, some of them? They have like an orchestra pit with the organ and stuff?
Well, the organ was like the guy like wheels in, but the Hollywood Theater's been around, I think, for like 100 years, if not more than that, or at least close to it. And used to be a big like one screen giant theater with a balcony, and they split up the balcony into a couple of smaller theaters and kept it going. And now it's mostly like a nonprofit thing. Like you can buy a membership to it, and you can, I don't need to give their whole sales pitch here, but they do show a lot of like, they do have some more modern movies that play there, and then they'll have more repertoire fare, like stuff that has been screened before, or art house stuff. And it's a lot of fun, a lot of variety, just real close by, which is nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Having a live organ player is a really cool thing. Here in Worcester, we had the Worcester Auditorium, which was mostly an unused building for a long time, but it has a huge pipe organ in it. So they did a showing of Nosferatu a couple of years ago, and the guy played organ along with it, and it was like so cool.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah.
A lot of the old theaters end up becoming porn theaters, because like that was the only way they could make some money. And there was one particular in Portland called the Jefferson Street Theater that I was at because Lloyd Kaufman, the guy behind the Trauma movies like Toxic Avenger, whatever, was coming to do a talk, and the person that brought him there thought it'd be funny to have him do this talk in a porn theater, and rented some equipment from a friend of mine, and I went with my friend to set it up. So we hung out all day in a porn theater listening to Lloyd Kaufman talk, and there was a guy there who was writing a book about old theaters and about how a lot of old theaters became porn theaters, because the Jefferson Street Theater was, I think, maybe built in the 20s or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I find out later that guy lived in the apartment building I was living in. And so there was always this like, we saw each other at a porno theater. We are never going to talk about it. We were both there for non-porn related issues, but like this is just an unspoken awkwardness between us for the rest of our lives now.
Yeah. Every time you see each other, you just kind of do the hard stare for a second, and then nod and walk away.
I know what you did. Your secrets better be safe with, if my secret's safe with you, it's safe with me.
Right.
I will tell everyone that you were at a porno theater writing the book you wrote about porno theaters.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing you can't really have a gotcha with, you know.
Yeah.
But
don't tell him
we had one of those, and that got torn down a number of years ago, and I'm like, it had been vacant for a long time. I'm like, end of an era.
It's like one guy in a trench coat, like, oh, come on. Sorry, Steve, you weren't paying the bills.
Right. We can't keep this going just for you.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, the Paris cinema. That's what it was called.
Oh, nice.
Which I always thought was funny.
Ooh la la. Very European.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I think we've had some pretty good geeking out and off-color humor tonight.
Yeah.
We
need
this is
that. End at pornography, so yeah, that's a good place to stop.
We have no place to go but down, you know. What do you have coming up for? Do you have it? Well, maybe you don't want to spoil it for This May Hurt a bit, but
I don't know. I mean, like you mentioned it. Where like by the time, as of this recording, the next one we're doing is that Fright Night Part 2, and then after that, I'm not sure what we're gonna do. We floated around a couple ideas, but I haven't decided yet. And then on John and Alexx stuff, we're doing the Fantastic Four First Steps, and then again, I don't know. We usually like come up with it as recording, like, oh shoot, we have to do another movie. What should we do? So,
but you got like a couple of years worth of episodes, at least a couple. I always say a couple because I think I listened to a show for a couple of years, and then I realize how long it's been on. And I'm like, how long have I been listening to these two guys?
Yeah, Alexx brought, because I had forgotten that we did Royal Tenenbaums pretty early on. I want to say that was like in the teens or something like that, because we just did, for the Patreon, we did the Phoenician Scheme, and I brought up wanting to revisit Royal Tenenbaums, and Alexx like, we did it on the show like 8 years ago. I'm like, don't tell me that. Don't tell me 8 years. That is depressing that we've been doing this for that long. Oh my God. But yeah. So there's a backlog of stuff for sure.
Right. Yeah. You can hear the original bad boy of podcasting and John C. Meyers trying to keep him in check.
Right. Yeah. Don't want him to get too powerful.
Right. Well, all right. But thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. Had a good time.
Yep. All right.